Hello, today's the day I'm going to meet my MP in Westminster. I'm here at the moment in my hotel room in St Giles, the St Giles Hotel, right in the centre of London near Tottenham Court Road. Great hotel to stay at. And I spent the evening sort of prepping for today and looking into my MP, and I found out why he wanted to be an MP and his parliamentary record and that kind of thing. And it was really interesting. And I think it's something that is kind of valuable for us all to do, because we vote for, well, I voted for him, but we vote for these people and we maybe don't know that much about them really and what motivates them. So I found that a really interesting exercise, and I'm really looking forward to speaking to him later today. Hello again, folks, and I'm now at the Abbey Centre, just down the road from Westminster, where I'm going to be spending most of the day, before and after I meet my MP. So we're just having a cup of tea before everything kicks off, and I will speak to you again soon.
So we're here in Westminster Hall with some WaterAid volunteers, and this is the oldest part of the Palace of Westminster. So we're standing here in the heart of Parliament, ready to meet some MPs and to do a bit of lobbying on the aid cuts today.
Just outside Westminster now. I've just been in to Westminster Hall and I was hoping to see my MP, but unfortunately Keir Starmer has called everybody into the house, so he's been called away. But I spoke to his assistant, who was really helpful. We had a great chat, and I'm going to follow up later with him, so it's not been a wasted trip at all. And it was fantastic to find out a bit about the history of the place with George, who was with me from WaterAid. So, and he used to actually work at Westminster Hall, so he knew all the little stories. So it's been wonderful so far. And I'm going back now to see and listen to another couple of MPs give their opinions on what's going on. So I'll catch up with you later.
The UK Aid Lobby Day, and what exactly does that mean? Well, it means that the UK government wants to reduce the aid budget from 0.5 to 0.3%, and we were all gathered today under the umbrella of UK Aid and the UK Aid Alliance to lobby our MPs about this percentage reduction, because it sounds like a really small percentage, doesn't it? But it has a huge impact. And I know there's a lot of words on this slide, but this is really important, and so that's why there are so many words on it, because there needs to be. Because potentially this percentage difference could lead to over 37 million fewer children being immunised against measles, polio and other diseases. Over 600,000 potential deaths from AIDS, TB and malaria. And nearly 300,000 fewer school meals for children. And on top of all that, millions more people, especially women and girls, are being put at risk as critical programmes, including wider access to water and sanitation, and that's with WaterAid in mind particularly. These programmes are disrupted. So before you look at the pretty pictures from the day, so to speak, please just take a note of these figures, and if you also feel strongly about this, then please get in touch with your MP and let's see if we can do something about this. And here's where it all took place. This is Parliament Square with Big Ben in the background there. And here I am under the statue of Nelson Mandela. And I remember I was about 19, 20, living in London, and I remember marching to call for his release, because I think at that point he was still in solitary confinement. So we were marching in London and chanting and all the rest of it for his release, which obviously finally did happen a lot of years later. And here we are in Westminster Hall, the oldest part of the Houses of Parliament. And thanks to George from WaterAid, who used to work in Westminster, I know that when they were renovating the roof, they found a tennis ball wedged behind one of the carved angels. And when it was dated, it went back to Henry VIII's reign, which must have meant that Henry VIII played tennis in this huge hall at some point. And I had to pay my respects to the late Queen, who lay in state where this plaque was fixed to the floor. And here's another one on the spot that Nelson Mandela stood after his release in 1996 to reply to addresses from both houses of Parliament. And then you go through to the chapel. This is such a beautiful building. It's huge, but you can sort of feel the history seeping out of the stone. And that little picture on the left with the arrow is part of the damaged foot and spur of one of the statues, where the suffragette Marjorie Holmes actually chained herself to, and in the process damaged the statue. And here are some of us from WaterAid, volunteers and employees, having enjoyed a brilliant day. And right at the end of the day, we finished it off with a walk through Green Park to Piccadilly, and you can see the London Eye in the background. It was actually quite a lot sunnier than these pictures suggest. And there's a bit of Buckingham Palace in the background as well. But it was a really good way to finish off, walking through nature in the middle of this huge city. It was wonderful. And then we ended up in Piccadilly. And here is a not particularly flattering picture of me, but with a particularly tasty ice cream.
Hello folks, and I am back at my desk today after an amazing day in London yesterday. It was just phenomenal to be in a room with over 100 other people from all walks of life, because the volunteers were from all walks of life, from employees from different charities, and we were different religions, different colour, different age groups, different genders, and all that was irrelevant, because we were all like-minded and we were all there for a reason. And I found that incredibly inspiring, and that the sort of small bit that I've been doing for WaterAid, and as you know, my walk for water earlier in the year, I'm not doing that in a vacuum. I am part of this huge collection of people who all want to do something to change the world and make it a better place, and to lift those who are not as fortunate as us. And then all those elements that cause prejudice were insignificant, because we were of a like mind. It was wonderful, and it was amazing going into Westminster and just standing there with all this history around me. If you haven't actually been into Westminster, it is well worth doing. I don't know, I felt really quite proud to be British when I was standing in there. But it was an incredible day. I met some amazing people doing incredible things, and yeah, it just made everything worthwhile, and everything that I've talked about and everything that I did for WaterAid earlier in the year, it made it all even more worthwhile. So I think, though, my kind of message out of all this is, if we were 100 completely different types of people, and we could all be in a room in harmony, then why can't that happen to 1,000 people? Why can't 10,000 people get together and be in harmony and like-minded, or even more than that? Because the cause that we were there for was a really important global issue, and it is the fact that the government will be reducing the amount spent on aid and development. And it sounds like such a tiny, tiny little percentage, 0.5 to 0.3. Sounds like nothing, doesn't it? But when you actually think about that in lives, then it is distressing, because that small reduction is over 600,000 deaths due to a reduction in vaccinations. It's going to affect millions and millions of people, because the work that all the charities that were there yesterday through Aid Alliance, they're not going to be able to reach the number of people that they would have done. Their programs and initiatives are going to have to be reduced. So this is potentially going to affect millions of people. So that's why I was in Westminster to lobby my MP, and that's why everybody else was at Westminster to lobby their MPs. Now, I didn't, as you know, get to see my MP. He was called away. It's just one of those things. When the big boss, Keir Starmer, says, you got to be there, you got to be there. But I am going to continue to contact him, and hopefully we're going to have a meeting on another day. So it was really inspiring. And if you are thinking about getting involved in charitable work, or you want to find out more about this issue, then just do it, because not only does it make the people that you are helping feel better, but it makes you feel better so as well. And yeah, I've just been so inspired by all those young people today, and the next generation coming up who really care. It gives me great hope.